Springfield's Talk 1041. Welcome to the show, everyone. How are you doing? Hope you're doing fantastic on this Thursday already. Is today Thursday? Am I right on
Yeah,
that?
isn't that weird? How did that happen?
How is it that I genuinely do not know what day it is so often as the show starts?
That's
I
wh-
mean, I have an instinct.
that's what happens when you wake up so early.
It must be.
Your body's screaming, "Is it?"
There's this instinct that tells me what day it is. But the thing is, sometimes that instinct is wrong. I'll think that it's a Wednesday and it's a Thursday, or I think it's a Thursday and it's a Wednesday. Usually it's only one day
You
off.
know,
It's not like I think it's Thursday when it's Monday.
Job security for me. So you just keep on keeping on
How's that job security?
because I have to come in every day and tell you what day it is.
Yeah, there we go.
Job
That's true.
security.
You gotta keep me in the right lane over here.
That's true.
Tomorrow being Friday means that we are going to be broadcasting live from Scramblers. And Congressman Burleson's office is going to be out there at the same time buying breakfast for folks. If you come by while we're doing the show and you have a Burleson bumper sticker on your vehicle, then his folks are going to be buying breakfast. If you don't have one, they'll get you one. He told us on Monday that they'll also have Burleson T-shirts out there, and it's just something he loves. You know, the listeners that come out and just the whole vibe that goes on out there when we're doing the show, and thought it'd be a real fun thing to do. And so that's what the Burleson folks will be doing tomorrow. So that'll be at Scramblers from 6A to 9A. And I'm trying to think. We're going to have our traditional, I'm thinking of this now because we're going to hear us start promoting it, our traditional American Christmas Mannheim Steamroller again this year. Chip Davis will be hosting that, and that will kick off Christmas Eve at noon, and it will go all the way through Christmas Day. Wheeler Metals is sponsoring that 36 hours of programming, so a huge thank you to those awesome folks over there. And it's really great programming. I like it.
I also really like it.
I don't say that because, it's our programming. So hey,
No,
be
it's
sure to
really
listen.
interesting.
It is interesting, and it's great. It's great background music, but at the same time, or programming, I should say, at the same time, it does have a lot of really interesting stuff in it. And it's not 36 hours of Mannheim Steamroller music. I should note that. It's all sorts of Christmas songs and music, from more modern to the old classics. Mannheim Steamroller rolled in there. And then Chip Davis, in between a lot of the songs, has tidbits of historical information, fun facts about Christmas, and he just has a way about him. I don't know. It's this very calming narration, I suppose. Maybe it just is cozy, and it's just great programming. And so if you haven't ever tuned in, listened to it, I would recommend so. And I know that genuinely that's what I usually have on, particularly as we travel from one place to the other. For during Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Again, Wheeler Metals, big thank you to them. They're going to be sponsoring that. Kicking off noon on Christmas Eve. And I will be gone for a number of days during that period of time, and we'll have a number of different hosts that'll be filling in. And I know that's something that many of you anticipate to occur, but just wanted to give you a heads up and a thank you in advance for those that are going to be sitting in and doing the show. And then, of course, Sarah, who will be here most of the time, handling all that.
That's true.
So thank you to you
Thank
in advance
you.
as well. Christy Fulnecki, she will be joining us in the 7 o'clock hour. Our author of the week today is going to be a revisit, and I wanted to revisit it specifically because of the recent arrest of the January 6th alleged would-be bomber. And with the arrest of that individual, I have had a number of you reference, out of suspicion, like, I don't know, this seems kind of suspicious. And a couple of you have specifically referenced an author that I had back this summer, I believe, late spring, summer perhaps, regarding the Oklahoma City bombing. And a lot of just unknown information regarding all of that is public. I mean, it isn't anything that's secret, but it's just information that doesn't make it out there that you find yourself going, I had no idea. And it really gives this painting of an FBI and a Department of Justice that has been corrupt for some time and not really truly looking in, or not operating in a manner that demonstrates ultimate justice is really the top priority. And so I thought, well, that'd be a good time to re-air that in the context of the January 6th arrest. And it's not to claim that I'm not arguing that there is something being hidden or covered up there, or that's a discussion for a different time. Just thought it would be a good time to revisit that particular interview, talking about a bomber, a would-be bomber, talking about the FBI, the Department of Justice, potential cover-ups, and finger-pointing at those for distraction purposes and so forth. That will be, once again, 8 o'clock hour, sponsored by ABC Books on North Glenstone. I want to play coming up this morning, yesterday with Faulkner on Fox in the morning. It was, I think that show is in the morning. What's that show called? There's that show. Do you know what it's called? It's on Fox. It's got the Faulkner gal, and it's they usually have a number of other people. Show name, I suppose, doesn't matter.
The Faulkner Focus?
That probably
I
is
bet that's it.
That probably is it. The Faulkner Focus. And Erica Kirk was on there, and really for the first time, directly and very starkly addressed the allegations in the form of questions, I suppose, that have been circulating out there largely due to Candace Owen. Though she did not say or utilize Candace Owen's name specifically, she clearly was talking about it and made it very, very clear that she is not happy at all about any of this. And I wanted to play that audio. This kind of thing that's been going on isn't something I've really talked about much, but it has gotten to the point where it is outside of the Candace Owen universe. In other words, even people who don't listen to Candace Owen, they are becoming aware that this stuff is going on, and these allegations that she's making, that there were people involved, including potentially people that were supposed to be his friends, and it's very conspiratorial, which conspiracies do happen, but it has gotten to the point where increasingly a lot of her biggest supporters are like, all right, the train has gone off the rails, but it's got a significant amount of traction, enough to where Turning Point USA a couple of weeks ago felt that they had to start addressing this. They could no longer ignore the allegations that she was making. And then again yesterday, Erica Kirk making very stark comments about the situation, and I thought I'd play that. And I'll briefly, for those that aren't in the loop on this, give you a bit of background on what it is that has been alleged for some period of time now, post the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Pyramid Roofing Company, talk and text line 447-KSGF. Latest news update.
And the first alert forecast from Ozarks First meteorologist Tom Schmidt, sponsored by St. Clair of the Ozarks Home Improvements. Today we'll see partly sunny skies with a high near 57. Tonight mostly clear with a low around 38. For your Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 47. And taking a look at Saturday, mostly sunny skies with a high near 46.
This seizure Trump announced of the Venezuelan oil tanker that was it's sanctioned oil, and so it's oil that is not supposed to apparently be doing whatever it is that they were doing with it, and so we're like, zoinks, we're going to take this. And I'm just looking forward because I know what's happening right now is the media and the Democrats are trying to figure out okay, so how is it that we can be opposed to this without just saying, like, what can we accuse them of? Is this a war crime? What is this? I'm wondering if it were me, I think I would accuse him of turning the United States, like turning our military into pirates. You know what I mean? Like try to invoke that imagery. Of course, a large part of the problem is people in this day and age. This is a problem that the Democrats have created. When you think about pirates in the modern era, what country are they from? They're Somali pirates. And right now they're in full-blown defense of all things Somali. So they, they really paint a lot of corners for themselves right now. I think that what I would love to see, just in true Trump fashion, is that Trump just bring that ship to the U.S. and let people tour it and just give out the oil free. Like on the ship, everybody that the first 1,000 people or however many people that come and get a tour of the ship that we got from the Venezuelans there, they get like a free quart of oil or something straight from the ship as a souvenir. Can have Trump's face on it. Hegseth can be on it. That just feels like a very Trump sort of thing to do. we'll see. Nothing surprises me. I think it would be quite clever, to be honest with you. The allegations originating from Candace Owen, podcaster, regarding the different, she's, quote, asking questions that suggest the murder of Charlie Kirk was something much deeper, perhaps betrayal from within. It has gotten enough traction that Turning Point USA felt it necessary to address it, and now Erica Kirk has addressed it as well. And this is because, let me tell you how, one of the ways I gauge whether something is getting traction or not. If people who don't listen to Candace Owens are hearing about it. And I'm one of those individuals. I also pay attention to these things. I know Candace Owens. Have we had her on the show as an author or anything? It seems like we tried to at one point. I don't remember if we've had her on or not. I've never listened to her podcast. I know who she is, and I've somewhat in the loop as to the overall allegations that she's made. And this isn't the first time that she has raised eyebrows because of allegations. She has this ongoing feud, legal feud, regarding the wife of the president of France,
Macron.
Macron, claiming that his wife is actually a man, and they decided to get involved at the level of suing her, and she's doubling down. And a lot of people have been questioning her judgment, not so much because on that particular issue, not so much because she believes that Macron's wife was actually a man or is actually a man, but that this is a hill that she has been willing to die. That it's just like, is this that important? I'm just telling you the perspective a lot of people have, and like, like, is this really worth getting sued over? I mean, why on earth would you just be so dug in on that particular issue? The Charlie Kirk issue, for a lot of people, it makes more sense that she would dig in on that, because you're talking about something that is much more impactful than the actual gender or sex of Macron's wife. And, she was part of Turning Point USA for a period of time, and she knew Charlie Kirk. So there's an obvious reason that she would have much more interest in that. Now, all of that being said, I've tried to, I haven't really talked about this because I didn't know how much inside baseball it was. Like I was thinking, all right, well, what portion of the listening audience is in the loop on this? And those who aren't, will there be a level of interest? And at the same time, because I'm not listening to her, not for any reason other than I just never really have listened to her podcast before. So I'm not really sure of all of the things that she's been claiming or all of the questions that she's been asking. But because it has gotten to the point now where Turning Point USA has recognized this is getting enough legs on it, these accusations, that it is having an impact, we need to talk about it. And people, again, who aren't listeners of hers are hearing about it and starting to ask, I'll get questions. Well, what do you think about this? And so I thought, all right, well, we'll talk about it. I struggled with, given I don't have a tremendous amount of background knowledge of exactly what it is that she has been saying over the months. I could research it, but then I found a piece, Miranda Devine, which is, an excellent investigative journalist and commentator. I think she does a really great job. She has a recent article in the New York Post, or piece in the New York Post, on a lot of this back and forth. So I thought I would just share with you what it is that she has laid out. And it's clear she's sympathetic to the Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA side of it, and critical of Candace Owens. So you could just take that with a grain of salt. But she lists out some of the allegations or questions that Candace Owen is asking, and I thought that would give you a little bit of background. So I'm going to share with you some of what she has, the latest in the New York Post. And she writes, the cruelty that has been heaped on Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, since his assassination 3 months ago has been unrelenting. First, it was leftist ghouls cheering on his murder, and she gets into the background of what it is that they've gone through from people on the left and the cheering of his murder and so forth. She picks up noting, but now conservatives know the let's see. Sorry, I didn't highlight this. Okay, what has been far worse, she writes, then the leftist haters are right-wing adjacent grifters and nuts pushing wicked conspiracy theories about Charlie's murder, pointing the finger at his colleagues, friends, and even Erica herself. These fantasies have been peddled primarily by former prominent TPUSA luminary Candace Owens on her hit podcast, which gets more than 40 million views for her wildest rants. She has claimed Israeli Mossad agents, men in maroon shirts, the U.S. military, Egyptian planes, Jewish donors, and the French government are somehow complicit. She endlessly plays videos of that awful day and theorizes about the, quote, exit wound or lack thereof. Worst of all, she torments Charlie's widow by suggesting in a disingenuous, quote, just asking questions way that Charlie was betrayed by the people who loved him most. Her proof, a dream. Quote, I had a very vivid dream whereupon Charlie told me that he had been betrayed. She has thrown suspicion on Charlie's pastor, his chief of staff, his chief operating officer, his spokesman, the camera guy, you name it. She plays clips of their reactions the moment Charlie was shot and claims they looked guilty. She is suspicious that Turning Point USA supposedly won't give her their footage of Charlie's murder. Then she laughably claims she needs it so she can, quote, debunk all these internet conspiracies. Everything about this is wrong, she said. I helped to build that organization, so I am almost the perfect person to discern what is normal and what is abnormal. She also claims, quote, I've chosen to be on the side of goodness and truth no matter what the cost is. Her daily tantalizing drip feed of absurdities crashing in on her former friend's death has made her millions of dollars. The more bizarre and dishonest the lies, the more clicks, because that's the way the online ecosphere works. Finally, on Wednesday, this would be yesterday, Erica Kirk erupted in a controlled demolition of Owens and all who amplify her toxins, and that's what we'll play here in a moment. She said, quote, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus, she told Harris Faulkner on Fox News' Outnumbered program in an appearance to promote the publication of her husband's final book, Stop in the Name of God. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there, but here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after the people that I love and you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people I love because somehow they're in on it, no. With courage and graceful intensity, she explained why she so far has remained silent in the face of ever more cruel clickbait. Quote, my silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that love my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. At one point, she turned to the camera and pointedly addressed the conspiracy theorists, saying, just know that your words are very powerful and we are human. My team are not machines. They're not robots. We have more death threats on our team and on our side than I've ever seen. What are we supposed to do, relive the trauma all over again? The best part was that Erica never mentioned the name of the woman who TPUSA insiders say is afflicted by first wife syndrome. They say Owens is consumed by jealousy, that Erica has been appointed CEO of TPUSA following Charlie's expressed wishes to the board and colleagues and captured on video. Quote, she is a woman scorned, one TPUSA insider said of Owens. She was iced out of TPUSA. She was not close to Charlie. He kept her at arm's length. He knew the best tact on her was to keep her on ice. She was not invited to Charlie's wedding. Charlie continued to exchange light, friendly texts with Owens to try to stop her from attacking TPUSA. There are a lot of people who could inherit Charlie's mantle as the conservative Christian on campus, rescuing young people's souls, but Owens is the last person that he would have chosen. She was associated with TPUSA for only 2 years and resigned, was pushed out in 2019 after being pilloried for a comment that seemed to excuse Adolf Hitler. After Charlie's death, she expressed the fantasy that, quote, the band maybe was going to get back together, end quote. At first, Charlie's family and colleagues decided to ignore the bio. But last week, her and her team, who have been running his podcast since he died, finally invited Owens to come on the show and clear the air. They have spent all week negotiating with her, but say that she keeps making excuses for why she can't go to their studio in Phoenix, including that there's a local cartel that wants to assassinate her. She's also claimed that French President Emmanuel Macron, who is suing her for defamation over her prolonged claim that his wife Bridget is really a man, has also ordered her assassination. Of course, she claims there's an Israeli in the assassination squad. In any case, next Tuesday, the Charlie Kirk Show will debunk all that nonsense with or without Owens. And of course, the Charlie Kirk Show is programming that we carry every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. All right, so that is, now again, Miranda Devine clearly has a take on it and feels as if Candace Owens is in the wrong here. But she did lay out some of the questions that Candace Owens has been asking, and so for those that aren't necessarily in the loop, I think that gives you just a bit of an idea. Now, I imagine those that are sympathetic to Candace Owens' ideas and expressions may have a disagreement with the tone of Miranda Devine's piece there, but again, take it with a grain of salt. So after the break, we're going to play the audio of Erica Kirk addressing this on Outnumbered on Fox yesterday. Springfield's Talk 104.1. I'm Nick Reed. All right, we got a traffic update just about 2 minutes from now. I do want to go ahead and play that audio from Erica Kirk yesterday on Outnumbered with Faulkner on Fox News, and this is the She's speaking of Candace Owen, though she does not say her name.
Come after me. Call me names. I don't care. Call me what you want. Go down that rabbit hole. Whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
You know, I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in. But just know that your words are very powerful and we are human. My team are not machines and they're not robots. They are human. We have more death threats on our team and our side than I have ever seen. I have kidnapping threats. You name it, we have it. And my poor team is exhausted. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered. I have no idea how I would have reacted if I was there that day. And thank the good Lord that I did not have to see that happen. But my team, they are rocked to the core. So why every single day do they have to be dragged through the mud, analyzed, hyper-analyzed? This is a duty to my husband, and it's an absolute honor, and I will never back down. And so my message to them is to stop. To stop.
All right, again, yesterday, Erica Kirk, though she did not mention Candace Owens by name, that is clearly of whom she spoke. And then that piece, Miranda Devine noted that it would be on the Charlie Kirk Show, which is still the name of the show. And, of course, we carry it Monday through Friday starting at 8 o'clock in the evening. This Tuesday, she said, is the day that they will be addressing all of these different allegations, which are oftentimes, again, in the form of questions. Traffic update, I'm Nick Reed. We are, sorry, it's time for weather.
Yes, we are. We are going to talk about Santa's Angels first, but first, the first alert forecast from Ozark's first meteorologist, Tom Schmidt, sponsored by J&S Automotive. Today, we'll see partly sunny skies with a high near 57. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 38. For your Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 47. And taking a look at Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 46.
We are in the final days of Santa's Angels, and in fact, off air, Sarah asked, "Can we switch to the mode of encouraging people to bring the kids in?" There may just be a few that are unadopted at this point. I know some locations have been out. I talked with one of the other locations that I anticipated might have more kids left, and I was told there were just like 3 left there, and so that's I think everything's tracking pretty much the way that it would, and so that means now is the time in which we encourage those of you who have received the gifts or who have purchased a kid, or got a kid and then purchased the gifts to start bringing those in, or if you adopted a kid. Would just encourage you. Yes, the deadline is next week, but the earlier the stuff comes in, the better, for a number of reasons. And we did want to once again have Trudy in to talk just a little bit about Santa's Angels. And I think a question I've never asked is the history of it. When did this all, were you with them
When Santa's Angels started?
Yeah, when it all started?
I think so. Sarah might remember better than I.
It was before me,
Yeah,
and
it was
I'm
before me,
and I'm
yeah.
before her. So that's why I ask. I've been here in
gosh.
April. It will be 16 years, and it was happening
Before that.
Now, when I started, I do remember that it was people would adopt them from online, and then
Yes.
we shifted from that to actual locations, and the thinking was it's very easy online and we thought, well, if somebody's willing to go to a location, go out of their everyday way, go to a location, adopt a kid, then they're more likely to follow through and actually getting the gift.
Yes.
Because it's not uncommon at all that, people, their heart feels big and, but then, you got other gifts you have to buy for family, and slowly but surely, you end up with kids being adopted, but the gifts don't come in. And so while we didn't want to make it difficult at all, we just thought it's so easy for somebody online to be like, oh yeah, click, I'll adopt this kid. And that increases the chances that it may be someone that isn't quite as dedicated as someone who would actually go to a location. And so I know that shift was made, I guess 16 years ago or so. But in terms of before that, I don't even know.
And you know what? I don't either. There was a gap in my tenure at KDC, and I honestly don't know, but I'll find out. I'll get you the answer.
Well, it's been a tremendous organization, or a tremendous, obviously the organization, but an annual effort. And I just want to thank again all of our listeners that all help out. And I can't tell you how many times just people will walk up and ask, hey, do you have all the kids adopted? Or do you guys need wrapping paper? What can we do to help? And so it's real top of mind for folks. And this is a broad question, but if you could just reiterate why this is important, what difference this actually makes.
I am going to quote one of our holiday hero sponsors who said, I was called her yesterday to thank her for the gifts that she had purchased for some of our kids in residential. And she said, oh, Trudy, every kid needs to experience Christmas. Yeah. And some of our fondest memories are of Christmas morning, Christmas Eve with family, and a lot of our kids haven't had that. You all take on a lot of our kids that are in the foster care program, and we recruit, train, and supervise all of the foster parents within KVC. And it's really been a boon to the kids consistently. They're not removed, they're not yanked out. We're there to help those foster parents and the kids. And you all, can you imagine waking up on Christmas morning and it's just another day?
Right.
Oh my gosh, I just can't imagine. It just breaks my heart to think that really does happen.
I've used the example before, and I don't know why it's the thing that really hits me is the kids going back to school, because I remember you go back to school and you're talking about what you got for Christmas.
What you get for Christmas.
Or you're going out and playing in the neighborhood. I know that isn't done as much anymore, but everyone, that's what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Even your first day back, you'd wear the sweater you got, or even though you didn't like getting clothes. But the kids that, and because kids, they get embarrassed. And so I just know that some kids would make things up.
Yeah.
pretend
Oh.
as if they had this wonderful Christmas. And
I read this great story earlier this week about this little boy who had asked his granny if there was a Santa, and some kid had told him there's no Santa Claus, and
Liar.
his grandmother said, "Of course Santa is real, and I'm going to prove it to you." And she told him to think of a kid that needed something in his class. So fast forward, he goes in and buys a coat, buys a $20 coat, tells the lady that what it's for. She charges him $10. That's all he had. And then he and his granny went to this little boy's house, left the coat in the package on the front porch, rang the doorbell, and then ran and hid in the bushes. And they watched the little boy come out. He had no coat.
Yeah.
And he never went out for recess. So he took that coat out, and he was thrilled that, he got the coat, and it said from Santa. And the little boy who got the coat looked up at his granny, and she said, "See, Santa has a lot of helpers." And I thought, oh, that was such a good story, because it's true.
Yeah.
We're all Santa's helpers.
Well, and that gift in particular, that's the thing that Sarah, every year, Sarah's the one that's taking all the information that she has been provided from the kids and puts them on, and then, she starts crying and everything.
Oh, I know.
It's like, it's that time of year for me to start crying. She'll be in here too. But it's the kid. Of course, you get, kids and toys and everything. But then there'll be a kid that wants pencils
I know.
or wants something like that, and you're just like, oh,
Crayons.
yeah.
Paper and crayons. We get that a lot too from the kids. So, and again, we strive to give these kids good memories, at least one good memory of a Christmas morning. And I think with your help, we do pretty good. But it takes a lot. It really does take a village.
And it is the legwork, of course, again, that Sarah does and that the listeners do. These kids, we have in our minds, I think, when we adopt the kids, what it is that these kids who they are. But it is a variety of backgrounds, like how they ended up there. And I know you've told stories. And I think about, the kids in the middle of the night that get brought there because the home got raided. And the parents are hauled off to jail because of drug trafficking or whatever, and they're scared. And that, and I know, like I said, there's all different backgrounds of kids, but that's what I think about.
I understand, and that's an accurate perception for some of the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every kid is unique. Every kid has a different story, and our biggest tool is listening to them.
Yeah.
Instead of getting mad at a kid because he keeps repeating the same bad behavior, sit down with that kid and say, why are you doing this? And you'll be amazed at what you find out.
You don't say, "What is wrong with you?"
No. My mom said that to me a couple of times.
That's not how it's worded.
No, no, don't do it that way. I think it turned out okay.
What is the matter with you? I think most of us at some point have had that question uttered almost rhetorically. What is the matter with you?
What in the world's the matter with you, little girl?
Yeah. Yeah, so we all have had that to some degree.
That's great. That's great.
But for a lot of us, in all seriousness, that we remember it because it was the one offer. I saw the funniest. It was a meme. It was a picture. It looked like it was from the early '80s, and it was a mom sitting at a table. It was a vintage photo, and the kid looked like he was 8 years old at the kitchen table, and there were papers everywhere, and it said something about. The night I told my mom at 8 o'clock at night I had a school project due tomorrow, and then it said, and that's when I learned who my real mom was, or who my mom really was, is what it was. like that was the when I learned who she really was. I laughed. I thought, boy,
That's
not
pretty
true.
accurate.
Yeah. But so many of us, we can remember and we can laugh about those moments because those were the exceptions. Those were the moments that were not a representation of the everyday baseline. But for a lot of kids,
Right.
that is the baseline.
Yeah, it is.
Or I don't want to say it's worse, but maybe just as bad totally ignored.
Oh,
Where you just are, you know, and there's something, it's I think it's a God thing, but there's this connection to your parents, and you see, I watch a lot of these, you know, Datelines and things, and you'll have stories about, you know, the kids that are adults and their parents did these, and they're like, I know people don't understand, and even though my parents did a horrible thing, but it is still my mom, and I still love her,
exactly.
and so even it's just heartbreaking. You think of these kids that are ignored, and all they want is to be loved
Yep.
by mom or
That's
dad.
the bottom
Yeah,
line.
and
And
they don't get that.
they can't get it by being a good kid.
Yeah,
They'll get the attention
yeah,
by acting out,
yeah.
poor behavior. You know, it's. I had a donor ask me one time. Um, I was giving him in a tour, and there was some repair going on in the basketball court. The kids had
Mm-hmm.
tore up the net off
Yeah.
the basketball hoop, which those things aren't infallible. They don't
Right.
last forever. But he he
Yes,
knows.
yeah.
And he said, "What would make a kid do something like that?" And I know we did prank stuff
Yeah,
when we were
by
in
the
high
way,
school.
all kids. I mean, if you think back, I did a lot. And you know what? Sometimes when you're a kid, you don't know. And
Yes.
what's funny is when you're an adult and you ask that question and you're frustrated because, like, I don't know. But if you can remember back when you're a kid, sometimes you don't know why. You just do
You just did
things.
it.
You just did it to do
Oh
it,
my
to see what would
gosh.
happen. And so, yeah, I mean, we all to some degree did stuff.
I took a big old blue piece of chalk, and I ran it from the front door of my grandparents' antique shop all the way around back to the front door.
Uh,
Oh, I got in trouble.
the Yeah, I could tell all sorts of
Oh
stories.
yeah,
Well,
we've all got it.
yeah,
We've
we're
all.
short on time. Hey, any final thoughts?
I want to thank you and
Mm.
Sarah, all your listeners. A shout out to all the Angel Tree Santa's helpers for helping us give these kids a Christmas to remember. It may be the only one they ever have, or at least the only one they've had so far.
Wheeler Metals sponsoring our entire Santa's Angels event this year, and then the locations for adopting kids off the trees. Crown Power and Equipment. I know they had a couple as of yesterday there. Mexican Villa, South Campbell, Greene County Freight and Food Sales, and Pinnager Chevy and Republic. And I know Pinnager Chevy and Republic yesterday had a couple as well. So if you can, just,
Please help us.
please help us. Yes, that's the best way to put it. Just please help us. And if you can stop by, particular, like I said, I'm guessing Mexican Villa is probably out because twice I refilled some of theirs. So it was a very high traffic location.
Yes.
Greene County Freight last week only had a couple left, and they always get adopted out. And it's a location that's been doing it for some time, so
Yes.
that would be why. But Crown Power and Equipment on Chestnut Expressway, almost to Glenstone, if you can just swing by there today, or Pinnager Chevy and Republican 60, swing by and grab one. We'd really appreciate it. And then Sarah's messaging, those of you who've got them, if you can, as soon as possible, start bringing those gifts in.
Yes, please.
Okay, all right.
Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas,
everybody.
Trudy. Thank you so much. Springfield's Talk 1041. I'm Nick Reed. I want a great homeloan.com for all of your home loan needs. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, we will be broadcasting live from Scramblers Friday Road Show, and one of the characters, Shirley, will be out there, and I know they plan on joining us, as they oftentimes do. It'll be in the 8 o'clock hour. Don Carricker may even swing by, he mentioned to me some time ago, and it'd be, of course, great to see him. Always fantastic to see Don. But if you have questions regarding refinancing and interest rates, and is it the right time, is it the good, there's so much that is in defiance of conventional wisdom for a lot of people. Some are, quote, trapped. They believe in the cycle of renting because I don't have 20% down. I don't have anything to put down on a home, so I can't get a mortgage. That's not the case all of the time. And I'm not talking about 1 out of 1,000 cases can figure out some creative way to get out of having to do that. It is very commonplace for people to qualify for the type of home loan that does not require anything down. Now, again, that's not for everyone, but point being is, don't make assumptions and don't make decisions based off of assumptions. Utilize the characters in their team, all their knowledge, before you settle on any decision regarding home loans, refinancing, reverse mortgages. I want a great homeloan.com, because you do. Springfield's Talk 1041. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Nick Reed, Hour 2. Streaming live, KSGF.com. I was having lunch yesterday with Daniel Hunter Hardscapes and Outdoor, and they had just, I think that day or the day before, broken ground on one of our listeners' projects.
Nice.
Outdoor living
So
space.
what's the
It was
listener
very-
doing?
Like as it's happening?
Yeah, no. Like, what are they building?
Oh,
Are they doing
well, you
like a
know,
traditional patio or like
I-
fire pit area?
Indoor tennis court.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
helicopter pad.
Yeah, I don't think they're insane. You know what? I don't know exactly.
I would like that information.
Yeah. Well, this is how weird I am. I was like, do you think it'd be weird for me to come over and out? It's like, I don't think so. If you want to, but I think they were just in the process of like getting ready. The prep work takes an amazing amount of time. But he kind of described some of the things that they were having done, but I guess I didn't really ask, well, what's the overall going to look like? Not that it's any of my business. I don't know. Is there hardscape, landscape, client confidentiality? Is that a
I
thing?
don't
I'm
think
not
so.
sure. Feel weird asking about someone else's project. But
I
one of the
wanna know.
but one of the things we were talking about is lighting, and they, of course, they do lighting as well, and I just failed to mention that. And we have uplighting on our house, as does our neighbor, and I just don't know that there are that many things that you can do to completely upgrade the look of your home, like in the evening hours, as uplighting, and it just makes such a huge amount of difference, and it makes things a lot safer, because I know in my neighborhood, those who have, I feel safe, and we don't have a tremendous amount of lighting in our neighborhood, and so I think to myself, if there's anybody that's going to be prowling around, it ain't going to be around my house, because the whole thing's lit up at night. And in addition to, like I said, just the overall look and what a huge improvement it makes the look of your home, that safety factor is something also to keep in mind. So I just mentioned that because that's one of the areas that they offer absolute premium installation and product lines. It's not stuff you can buy yourself and do yourself, but that it can, something they specialize in as well. And I thought I'd mention that for those that don't have it. This is the first home we have ever had that has it, and if I ever moved to a new home, or when I do, if I do, that doesn't have it, it's going to be one of the first things we do is install it. I just can't imagine not having it at this point. But for any of your needs, and there's a cost estimation calculator for projects, before and after pics, and reviews from other folks. HunterHardscapes.com. You can find them under Nick's endorsements at KSGF.com. Christopher Volnick.
Yes, good morning.
Has
Hello, the Ozarks.
past week been a little quieter for you and the fam, or is it
it's
still?
not.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy my daughter being the subject of international news.
I saw,
Yeah.
well, we talked about it yesterday, that a professor at the university was let go, I think, or so, because
It's a little bit vague right now
Yeah.
because, of course, they don't communicate with us, and so
Right.
what we see is in the media. And so this happened last week because a group had a protest against, I guess, some said against my daughter. I don't know, against letting this
right.
I guess
TTA.
man. Well, I don't know whether to say man or woman, but I guess man go. She was a woman in the class, but so letting this person go. So there's a protest, then there's a counter protest against those people. And so I guess what happened is that a professor, and I don't know if it was Professor T, I think it was a professor, but she was going to give, I guess, credit or excused absence for the students to attend this rally against my daughter. And then someone in the class said, well, what about the counter protest against those people? And then will you give credit? And she said no. And said that it had to be planned in advance. And he said, well, how is it planned in advance? We just found out about this.
Yeah, it was one of the articles I read described it as anyone that, again, wanted to protest against Samantha in favor of the TA got excused. And then, like you said, and the professor's like, oh, yeah, but you have to organize it. You have, like, instead of just going, created these standards that essentially made it an uneven playing field, saying, that, well, okay, you can do it, but you have to do all of these things. And like, no, that's, not right. So that's where the university apparently stepped in and said that's unacceptable behavior.
Yeah, and that happened last Friday. So it seems like there's something going on every single day. I don't know.
I mean, are there any latest developments that haven't made it in the news that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, it's very chaotic there because with the playoff games with the SEC, they're having to close the university next Friday and move everybody's finals up, and then, it's just very unstable there right now because they're having to close the university next Friday, and so yeah, it's a little chaotic for us because obviously we're getting a lot of threats and. For our family and Samantha, so we're having to deal with that.
Yes, the left once again proving that they're normal.
Right, I know. That's
by
right.
going nuts and making death
yeah,
threats.
and I heard Erica Kirk yesterday. She kind of went on the circuit the last couple of days, and then talking about the death threats that they receive, and I thought, I mean, you could talk about it, but these people are straight up crazy.
They are.
Yeah, I mean, they really are. They're totally mentally unstable.
When people hear that there are death threats, I believe oftentimes they just imagine, oh, it's somebody on social media or send a random message. But a lot of times it's more than that. It's more.
We've had more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that.
Calling the office and things with my office and our house. And I don't want to be specific because I don't give people ideas.
Right.
But definitely if you're conservative and something like this happens, you're in the media, you are a huge target. And so it's just another thing you have to worry about. But, I mean, you take precautions. And the thing is, it doesn't keep us from speaking out. So, I mean, if they think Samantha's going to shut up and stop talking about God, they have another thing coming.
Right.
I mean, it's not going to intimidate her. I mean, she doesn't care. And so she's become, she's become friendly with Riley Gaines. And I think that's going to help that relationship with everything she's going through. And then she was invited, Riley had invited her to the Turning Point AmFest conference next week in Phoenix. And so she's going out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so I'm
good.
excited. My older two daughters are going to go with her as well.
Nice.
And then yesterday she was invited to the governor's Christmas party there. So
In Oklahoma?
in Oklahoma. Yeah. So she'll get to go hang out with those
Awesome.
people.
Very
So,
cool.
yeah, the conservatives in Oklahoma have been very, very supportive of her. And so I think that's good because with all the hate, from the university, she's at least has a good support system with, a red state. Yeah, I know.
I believe I don't know if there was a county that didn't vote for Trump in Oklahoma.
No, I think it was the only state that was all red.
Yeah.
Which
At
is
least in
crazy because then you have the Oklahoma newspaper there.
Oh, of
So
course.
it's Gannett,
Well,
Oh yeah, shocker there. I thought, I think I maybe mentioned this last week because they said, "Oh, we're gonna do a story about your family," and I thought, I'm
that's nice.
kind of off guard now because it's been a few years since I've been in the media a lot. I thought, and this is a funny story. So, like, I'm texting the reporter and she said, "Can I have a picture of your family?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love it. I love sending
this
pictures."
is
of
nice.
She's so sweet. Not like the news leader. I mean, she's not cutthroat or anything. I must have sent her 7 or 8 pictures of my family. So then, she's asking me questions. Never do we talk about one thing about city council. We didn't talk about
sure.
January
Right,
6th. We didn't talk
you
about
and your
because
family. It's
I'm like, this is not going to be about me. Well, the first thing, it was one of the press conferences when I sued I sued the school district, and then it was a total hit job on all this stuff, and then they factually got things incorrect, but they
Shocking.
went through the whole entire
Yeah,
city
all
council drama, and I thought, oh my gosh, it was like 10 years ago. But so I'm emailing the executive editor, and I said, for one thing, you had some facts incorrect, but you're misleading when you don't tell my side of the story. And then why wouldn't you just ask me about
Well, that's the thing. It's the totally they lied. Instead of saying, hey, we've noticed you have sort of an interesting background when it comes to politics, and we want to write a story on that, lie to you and say, oh, we want to do a piece on the family and everything to get, I mean, it's just so.
guard was down. And I think I happened to just mention when I was on city council, but I never even talked about it. They didn't ask me anything about it. And so, just like little things, they started talking about, the 5 people and the mayor that went after me. Oh my gosh, it was so much drama in this article. And then, little things like I said, you didn't say that it started because he was supporting the Free the Nipple protest. The people that were going to sue the city. So
I forgot about that one.
yeah, the people that wanted to take their
Jeez.
clothes off, the Free the Nipple. That's how it started because I told
Such noble causes.
the public and the media that he had been meeting with them and encouraging a lawsuit against the city. That's how the whole thing started, was that Free the Nipple thing.
I
But see,
forgot about
little
that.
things like that, they don't tell any of your side of the story. And so so we went the whole entire thing. I was like, oh, this is going to be a nice story in my family.
Yeah.
I opened up. I'm like, oh, it was a total hit job just about me.
Nice little reminder about what trash these people
Yeah,
are,
and
and what a
think-
great outfit Gannett is. How
Yeah.
honest and ethical they are.
I mean, it's just trash like every other newspaper. And I thought, here's a state that I'm Comanche Indian, that I was born in, that I have relatives in, that I've never really had a political fight in. But then you take all this drama and then you just trash me in another state. Like, jeez.
All right, well, we're going to get a traffic update here in a moment. More with Christy Fulnecki coming up. Pyramid Roofing Company talking. Text line 447 KSGF. Latest news.
And the first alert forecast from Ozarks First meteorologist Tom Schmidt, sponsored by St. Clair of the Ozarks Home Improvements. Today we'll see partly sunny skies with a high near 57. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 38. For your Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 47. And taking a look at Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 46.
Christy Fonecki is with
Yes,
us this morning.
yes.
How are you?
I'm doing great, and we have many more followers listening to the radio
Oh,
this
do
morning
we? Thank
from
you.
all across the world.
I hope so. I
Yeah.
might bring a little extra traffic to the
Just a
old.
little extra haters here.
Now, you had mentioned that Samantha is going to be at an upcoming event with a number of speakers. She's
Oh yeah, the
out
turning
in
point. You
Turning
mean?
Point
Yeah.
event, and you were showing me a list of speakers, and one of the JD Vance is one of them. Is that correct?
Yeah, JD Vance.
Now, I would
And-
definitely just advise that she not hug him.
Oh, that's right.
Because we don't
Oh,
need
yeah,
we
it
don't need
is
her
so
we don't need
crazy.
her leapfrogging over Erica to break up his marriage.
I know. That's right.
And if she does hug him, don't,
Don't
Touch his
don't
head.
touch his head.
Don't touch his head.
Because that is a clear sign
Oh my gosh.
that you are breaking up a marriage.
I know. I'm telling you, it's so insane. And when you get these, it's just crazy, like the things that people say. And like part of my social media, I can't shut down because I had it up when I was on city council. So part of it, for some reason, I can't shut down. So I get messages, a lot of supportive messages all over the world. I think I had told you guys, like Australia, France, New Zealand, people from all over the world, people that are, giving Samantha job offers and want to marry her, all this stuff. So a lot of positive things. But then just like the total wackos, I mean, they're so unstable, but they attack like every little thing, looks, or
Oh,
they'll
of
scroll through
course.
your social media and say I mean, it's just totally unhinged. I mean, it's just evil. I mean, they're totally, and the funny thing is like they claim to be Christian, and then they call us demonic. I'm like, what? It's a total projection of what they are.
Well, I wanted to share with you because, well, I said that I would, but also so you can know that. But happy hour, there were a number of people that, well, they had asked if you were going to be there. You were sick.
Yeah, I was not feeling good.
But because they were like, we just wanted to let her know how much we appreciate her and her family and what Samantha's doing, and the fact that she and her husband are so supportive and raise such great kids, and I was at Cassidy Farms on Saturday, and 14 Mill ran into people, same thing, just people that
really?
come up and ask, are you Nick? And I'm like, yeah, and then they're like, oh man, and they're like, will you tell her this? And so just wanted to pass along,
Oh,
which
that's
I
nice.
know you mentioned you do get that sort of encouragement, but it isn't just international.
Yeah.
It's local.
Well,
too.
it's important. I'm glad that people say that, because as many, the hate messages you get,
Mm-hmm.
it's good to have people that are supportive here. Yeah, I was in meetings yesterday, and people are very, positive and believe in what she's doing. She's had a lot of pastors throughout the country that have reached out, and there's one, I can't remember what state it was, that they're having on Sunday a day focused on her and her courage and what it's like to walk the Christian life. So I've had people from all over the world contact me, and I mean, I thought France and Australia and New Zealand, and
That's crazy.
yeah, and how everybody's watching it, and so it's like all the Christians of the world are contacting us. And Franklin Graham, to me, that was just amazing that
Well,
he
just
said something about it.
Like I said, just don't let her hug JD Vance. Have you seen that? We talked about this yesterday, the latest, where the Democrats, in fact, there's a story. Now, this isn't exactly mainstream, but let's see here. It's what paper was this? Scroll up. Atlanta Black Star News. It's over, isn't it? JD Vance heightens divorce rumors with his side of the story
Oh,
about
my
fighting
gosh.
loudly with wife Usha in viral video. Well, there is no side of the story other than him making fun of. Have you seen this?
Wait,
What's
viral video?
a photo? Sorry. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, there's a video now.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen? Oh my gosh, this is so funny. So
No, I haven't seen
the
it.
Democrat, someone put on the internet a picture. This is the picture, so you can see it there.
Okay.
That is, and I don't know if this is. I don't know if it's JD Vance or if it's someone that looks like him or if it's AI. But that is supposed to be him at a fancy restaurant with her. and he is yelling at her in the middle of the restaurant that, according to witnesses, he was
for what was a t-shirt
that's
on. I was like,
it's an
for one
undershirt.
thing, someone that always has a suit on will never have a t-shirt when they go out to dinner, and you're the vice president. So I know that's
Well,
probably
the
not
whole thing is so stupid
it's
because
fake.
well,
That's
so
what I think.
according to here's what it reads: the person who made the initial posting, and this is, I'm telling you, Democrats believe this stuff. Looks like things are not going good in Republican stand. Usha is a liberal, always has been. Apparently, they were having an argument loud enough to quiet the restaurant. Why is he wearing a T-shirt? And then it makes it look like she has her head in her hands, presumably being her. And so this is what you have to believe, that the vice president of the United States, who apparently is trying to pretend as if, the marriage is horrible, but he's trying to make sure everyone thinks it's wonderful, decides to go out to a nice restaurant wearing only an undershirt and decides that part of his plan to make the marriage look like it is going well is to, in the middle of the restaurant, yell at her so loudly and angrily that the entire restaurant goes silent, and nobody films it, including the person that took a picture. They're like, let's see, should I film this? No, I'll just take a picture of it. And so
The most well-spoken of any person in higher office I think I've ever heard. I can't imagine him sitting there screaming at her in the middle of a restaurant.
So Vance shared it, writing, I always wear an undershirt when I go out in public to have a fight loudly with my wife.
Oh, yeah. See, they're so
These
used
people
to it.
vote. How
No,
dumb
I
are
know.
these? These are the same people that stand on the side of the road with no king signs and the 2025 conspiracy signs and everything else, that in their minds you should believe that they are an authority enough on their judgment of issues that you should listen to them. They need to be out there on the side of the road, yet they're so dumb that this stuff they believe.
I know, that's right.
Like,
Yeah.
how can anyone
Yeah,
believe anything that you, in terms of your opinions or thoughts? Like, you are delusional.
And then because no one will listen to you because you're a bunch of idiots, then you go out and riot, and then you become violent against people because that's all you have. You can't win on the issues, and
They're
I mean-
children. They're toddlers in adult bodies.
I know that's so true. But you're right, they do vote, and you always wonder, like, how many does this make up because some of the things that people are sending us are, and they'll post on social media, but then they send directly to me about, pictures
Just
of,
to make sure you get it.
yeah, like, I know, like, I care. The only reason that, by the way, that I'm keeping it, some of this stuff and even talking about it, is because just so you haters know, so I can give it to the FBI.
Right,
So good
yeah.
luck with that. But they have, like the picture of Charlie Kirk being shot and, the blood coming out. So
Yeah.
they post that on all your stuff, and they're just totally like crazy wackos. And I think when I was listening to Erica Kirk, I know she's frustrated because of everything going on, but and she might, maybe Charlie's the one that took the brunt of that, the past few years, or since she's been involved with Turning Point. Now it's on her to kind of take the mantle to go against these people. But for people that have been in politics that are conservatives, this has happened to everyone forever, and they're thinking, wow, they would say this about her hugging Vance and all that. People have been going after Republicans and conservatives forever, and it's just every year it gets more violent. When I had Antifa with January 6th, that I thought they're crazy, and I had this satanic temple for a while after me. But this is kind of a whole new level. These people are just wacko the past few years.
They are, and what they don't. I don't know that they may not care. I don't think they care. But they are validating those of us who recognize they're nuts.
Yeah,
It's like
right.
they want to. They're like, we don't have mental illness. Like, do you? Yes, you do. This is not
Yes,
how
you
normal
do.
people
I
behave.
know.
There is something wrong with you. You are mentally unstable. You are hysterical. You are unhinged, because normal people do not behave the way that you behave. You think about what on earth? Some of these are adults. The adults that will, well, most of them obviously are adults that will give death threats. That will not just online, but physically do things that take effort in order to demonstrate how much they want to frighten you or scare you or Samantha over what?
I
An
know that.
assignment that you didn't like, that she
I
did,
know.
that you don't even, that you haven't even read,
I know
that you
that's
don't
right.
even understand what it's about. There's something wrong with you. I saw there's this article in Daily Mail. Rosie O'Donnell's therapist begged her to cut herself off from social media over what
Oh, I
friends
heard
and
that.
families have described as a spiraling fixation on Trump. But the comedian couldn't even hold out for half a day. The day before Thanksgiving, O'Donnell vowed to her therapist that she would go 2 days without posting anything about Trump, according to the Washington Post profile on her life in Ireland. The pledge collapsed almost instantly. The paper reported it lasted maybe a few hours. Her therapist grew exasperated, quote, you've got to detach, she told the Star during a recent session. You've got to disconnect. These people are nuts.
I know.
This
That's
is
exactly
not,
when you were talking about that. I thought of Rosie when you
yeah.
said that.
And
Yeah.
if you are someone who, you don't have to be a celebrity, but if you find yourself constantly going to and I know people like this, I have to snooze them for like 30 days because it's like, this is all you do.
I
You
know.
post stuff about Trump. Like, this is not normal behavior. You have something wrong with you, and not in an insulting way. You need help.
Yeah.
And and if you cannot, you're doing this to yourself is the thing. They they say, oh, it's because of, it's not because of Trump. This is a you problem.
Yeah.
This is an obsession that you have with him.
Yeah, and she's lost total touch with reality.
Yeah.
And the thing that I don't understand is why does the media cover her? I mean,
Because she
just-
hates Trump.
I
I mean,
know. It's
because
just like if they wouldn't
because the
cover
media
her-
has the same obsession.
Yeah. And I like how, I'm going to move to another country so I can get out of all this craziness. But I want the media to cover everything that I say when I'm in another country.
Did you see Ellen's moving back to the U.S.?
Oh, really?
So she and Portia had moved to England to get away. Yeah, they're coming back. Apparently, a large part of the reason, the weather. Like, oh, you must really be scared of Trump's America if you're like,
Oh.
you know what, it's too wet here.
Yeah,
go
there are
back.
other places in the world you can move
Yeah,
to, by
I know,
the way.
right? Chrissy Fulnecki with us. More coming up. I'm Nick Reed.
Springfield Talk 1041, the first alert forecast from Ozarks First, meteorologist Tom Schmidt, sponsored by J&S Automotive. Today we'll see partly sunny skies with a high near 57. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 38. For your Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 47. And taking a look at Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 46.
Hi, Chrissy Filnecki's here.
Yes, yes.
Oh, boy, life.
I know.
Life, I tell ya.
It's a crazy life.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad mine's just so simple compared to your
That's right.
the chaos
It's chaos.
chaos that you create, the wake
I know.
that you.
We're a bunch of troublemakers.
If anyone thinks the Comanches are no longer
Yeah.
making their footprint in this country, they are mistaken.
Now you add Christian to that. The
Yeah,
Christian Comanches.
Kiki the
Conservatives.
Comanche.
Christian Comanche conservatives. And Kiki.
Yeah,
That's the most important.
KKK. I mean, not really, but you could. I bet she spells it that way. She's a racist.
The Indian racist.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like all these people call me racist.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you're saying this against the American Indians. So obviously, then they're concerned about the trans
You should know-
minority, not
yeah.
about the minority.
You need to.
The first minority, by the way.
You need to tell all of these lefties that come after you. You tell them when they get off your stolen land, then they can give you some feedback. Like when you get up,
Make a post about that today on my
be
social
like,
media.
first off, you need to start with a land acknowledgement before you send me a death threat.
Yes.
So that's
snap.
the first thing. Snap. Then after land acknowledgement, get off it.
Yeah.
Give it back.
I'm going to get on there while these people are listening and start talking about changing back the logos. The Redskins and all these people. That'll really make these people crazy.
You should. So as I think about this out loud, after you demand the land acknowledgement, and then you make sure that they're updated on who you are exactly as a Comanche, and then be like, by the way, just little historical lesson. Let me give you some examples of what my people do to those that get in our way. And then you could go through some historical
Scalping, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the lazy way. I mean, some of the things that
The lazy way.
the very
Why is it lazy to scalp people?
because it's fast, and some of the more creative things. I mean, you were talking about that museum that you all have,
that's
with
right.
like all the torture devices or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating to some degree, I think.
Yeah. I mean, to me, scalping is a very efficient way. I mean, and we all
It's
have
a mostly peaceful way to give someone a haircut.
yeah.
Mostly peaceful.
That's right.
Uh,
And we all carry guns, so just so they all know that if they're listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I thought this was
I'm a
just
cowboy and an
yeah.
Indian. I've got my bow and arrow.
Got
and
it
I've got
all.
my Glock right here.
Got it all. There's been a great deal of attention paid to Netflix lately because it's Warner Brothers. I guess they're trying to buy. This is a much bigger deal apparently than I understand, because I'm hearing this talked about a lot. This merger, this acquisition, and I'm hearing this belief that Warner Brothers is somehow going to make Netflix a little less crazy and to the left. Now, I have no idea. I have no clue.
How do you do that?
Now, there are others that say it's going to work the other way around, that Netflix is going to instead poison Warner Brothers and make them more lefty. And so, anyhow, there's a story in Breitbart about this new film that is going to let's see, it's I'm trying to think when it's going to debut. But anyway, it's a Netflix film, and it's called an Argentinian film, but I think it's got Pedro Pascal in it. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Okay, it's called Queen of Coal, and it stars Pedro Pascal's. Oh no, wait, sorry, Pedro Pascal's real life transgender brother Lux. Okay. As a trans person struggling to be accepted as a coal miner in Argentina's Patagonia region. Yeah. Like story.
So is this on Netflix or where?
It is, yeah. The
Okay.
official description says the film is about, quote, a trans woman dreams of working the coal mines, because of course, but in a town steeped in superstition and patriarchy, Carlita must fight to earn her place underground.
Oh, I think I'll cancel Netflix after this. Who in the world would? Okay, now who would watch that? Number one,
I don't know.
besides all the people that are contacting me right now, but
miners,
besides
yeah.
those people, besides those crazy people,
I guess coal miners.
I don't think any
or maybe
coal
the
miner.
trans community, they're like, it's about time we get represented in a coal miner piece.
mean the trans community. So who else? And some of the crazy liberals. You know, I
What-
mean, this is so okay. I have this big thing about movies, and there's nothing hardly for children anymore because Zootopia. We just saw that. That I mean, they did incredible. I guess at the box office, but there's hardly anything that you can take kids to, and movies now. I mean, you know, we had Avengers. That's the kids like that.
Well,
The
how long's that
superhero
been?
stuff. I
That's
know,
been
but
several
there's like
years.
nothing. And then you have to be so careful, especially on
And here-
Netflix, what your kids watch.
Well, and right now you have all of these people in Hollywood that are vocalizing their opposition to AI's usage in not just acting, but
Yeah,
script
right.
writing and how. And I saw Leonardo DiCaprio, I think, was talking about how, you know, it essentially because the art, theater and movies, it's supposed to be art, and that comes from the soul. And so you're taking the source, the soul, the emotions out of it by having it AI. And I'm thinking, you know, maybe you all ought to just worry about making good stuff
Yeah.
with good content again, because it seems as if that isn't really a driving force. It's not even about the art. It's about making a point. It's about lecturing. It's about you know, it's like everything is a left-wing after-school special any longer. In fact,
right.
that I think it's the Golden Globes that were announced, or one of those recent. And one of the movies that was nominated for like 9 awards is a movie that hardly anyone saw because it got horrible reviews amongst normal people, and it's about some like left-wing. It's about a tyrannical right-wing government and these left-wing freedom
my gosh. Are you
fighters.
kidding
I think DiCaprio's in it, and I remember when it came out and it just totally bombed because it was sort of anti-conservative. I thought, oh, this thing will be up for awards, and I think it was leading in terms of the nominations. Of course, you know, maybe if you would focus on getting just really genuine, good storytelling, as opposed to trying to make everything teaching us, the normal people out there, the heathens, how it is we're supposed to
You know,
believe.
because they're elitist and they think we're all a bunch of idiots. So they're gonna we're gonna just have a movie about a farm and people going to church and carrying their guns. I mean, you know, they think of that we're
Well, and it's shifted from, I think for most people, it is shifted from annoyance or anger to dismissiveness and almost laughability. Like when I see, maybe 3 years ago I would have felt different, but I laughed when I read this description. I think you are making caricatures of yourself. A trans woman dreams of working the coal mines, but in a town steeped in superstition and patriarchy, Carlita must fight to earn her place in underground. I'm like, what a dumb film.
What's
It's like,
irrelevant?
what a joke.
What's irrelevant that you're trans? Like, why is that even relevant?
Well, the fact that you don't know proves that that's why you need to see the movie.
That's
Don't you
right.
understand?
I know.
That right
I need
there.
to have some sensitivity.
Yes, you do need to
sensitivity
have.
training.
Christy Fulnecki with us more. Coming up, I'm Nick Reed. Of course, Santa's Angels. We had Trudy on earlier talking about the significance and importance of that and helping out. Lori Rook, Ozarks Elder Law. They focus on the other end of the age spectrum, nursing homes, and we oftentimes think of kids and young people when it comes to Christmas, and they go without, and how can we help them? But a lot of folks are in nursing homes, and they don't have family, or they have family that doesn't come visit them because they just for whatever reasons. No need to go through all the scenarios. And so something that Lori Rook and Ozarks Elder Law has been doing is, with the help of those that want to volunteer, is making sure those people at least get Christmas cards so that they have something on Christmas or before Christmas. And if you want to help out with that, just reach out to them. Maybe it's just you, or if you are a Sunday school teacher, or you've got some sort of club or organization, or maybe just your family. Whether you make them homemade or purchase them, there's a number of different ways you can do it, but it's something that really doesn't take a whole lot of effort, but can mean a whole lot to someone here in the area. If you want to help out, just reach out to the folks at Ozark Elder Law, and they'll let you know what it is that they need you to do in order to help out with that incredible effort. OzarksElderLaw.com, also under Nick's endorsements at KSGF.com. Christy Fulnecki here.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. I don't want to shortchange you if there's anything you wanted to talk about here before.
No, there's
the
always
hour
so much
wraps.
to talk
Yeah, I
about.
know.
But did you see that little video or whatever it is that Gavin Newsom did about, I don't know if it was his book or whatever he's
I don't know
trying to talk about. And it's funny because he is trying to portray that he's a normal person. Did you see this?
Is this the leg crossing thing? Or-
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then they put out an AI version of him doing the weird.
Oh yeah,
but
not
yeah,
that, but it's some other. I think it's a book or something
Okay.
that he's trying to push.
No, I don't think I have then.
Yeah, it's
I
just
mean,
funny.
we talked about the AI thing where they're trying to be, and then I saw this
He was
morning.
talking. It was talking about his background and everything
Okay.
that he's done in his life and
Oh.
how he's a normal person. And
Oh, it did.
and
Have
then-
you heard the audio? I don't know if I have time to pull it up or not. There was audio a few weeks ago where he was talking to, I think there were black podcasters, and let's see, Gavin.
oh, am I going to be embarrassed for him?
Let's see. Yeah, I don't see. I was trying to pull it up. Anyway, I can't find it offhand. But he talks like he was a latchkey kid, and that
Yeah,
he
that's-
eating mac and cheese and playing back, and it was clear he was pandering as usual, like thinking in his mind, see, what did black kids go through growing up? I'm going to pretend like I did that. It's just so, and the other part of it that's embarrassing is when these podcasters, they let it slide. It's like, have a little self-respect. Like, this
Yeah.
guy clearly is trying to pander based off of stereotypes. It's the same thing with Hillary Clinton and the hot sauce, and
something.
just all like, have a little dignity. Call these people out on this stuff. Be like, are you kidding me?
We'll have to pull it for next week because it's funny because the way he's talking, it's so awkward because he's trying to talk like he's a regular person, and it's like an elitist trying to connect with normal people, and it's funny because it's so fake.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like when they do the whole like mojito drink, and the what's her name did, she would drink mojitos, Claire.
Oh, Claire
Claire
Bear. Yeah.
And
Was it mojitos? Well, and remember the whole Bud Light thing?
the Bud.
And there was some video a bunch of lawmakers made of them standing around drinking Bud Light, and it was just so fake. Like you could just so.
Some video.
Pocahontas did the thing where she was doing some video from her kitchen,
Yeah,
and she
right, I
and her
remember.
husband walks through, and she's like, hey, why don't you grab me a beer out of the fridge? And okay, and it's like, oh my gosh,
I'm trying to.
like,
I'm not trying to
get some acting lessons here.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That
Gavin.
that it was so fake because he was trying to do the same thing that they do, but it's like, why don't you just be
Oh.
yourself? If you're an elitist, like we can tell that you're pandering to all
This
of us.
one we got to go because we got traffic
okay,
here. But
okay.
did you see the video of the mayor of Minneapolis sitting down and eating Somali food?
Oh no, I
Oh,
didn't.
this is great. This was last week after. So all of a sudden, of course, because the Trump administration's calling out massive corruption in
Right, right.
the Somali
Mhm.
community. So now they have to make the Somalis the great everything.
Oh.
Wonderful. So the mayor, in addition to trying to speak Somali at a press conference, then he goes to some Somali restaurant and he puts it in his mouth and the 99% of the shares came from Republicans. You could see this look on his face like this is the most disgusting thing ever. And he knows he's being filmed. And so he's like, and just try. And it is hilarious because to me, it was the imagery. Like you are for the first time meeting your girlfriend's family and you go to eat dinner at the house and you put her mom's meatloaf in your, and it's awful. And you're like, that's what it looks like. We'll get that up under must-read headlines. Christopher, thank you as always. Thank you so
See you
much.
next week.
Yes, next Thursday.
Yes.
We've got a traffic update now. Tomorrow, we will be broadcasting live from Scramblers. It is the Friday Road Show. And those of you who have not heard the ads, Congressman Burleson's office is going to be out there, and they are going to be buying breakfast for folks. They love the whole Heroes Breakfast thing and just the vibe of it, and wanted to do something similar. So if you are if you come by while we're out there broadcasting from 6A to 9A, and you have a bumper sticker, Burleson bumper sticker on your car, they are going to buy you breakfast. And if you don't have, you're like, I don't have one, don't worry, they'll have some for you. And they'll have T-shirts out there as well. And so that is going to be going on with Congressman Burleson's office at Scramblers tomorrow while we're broadcasting out there from 6A to 9A. We have Author of the Week coming up, sponsored by ABC Books on North Glenstone. I'm Nick Reed. Springfield's Talk 1041. I'm a believer in you don't have to, well, nobody can be an expert in everything, so you surround yourself with people who are. This is the way that, in my observations, Emily Johnson operates, and when it comes to plumbing, when it comes to foundation repair, when it comes to the numerous things that people find they need to have done in order to sell their home. Like she knows, she's clearly not an expert in all these areas, but she knows the people who are, because this is what she does. This is one of the many assets she brings to the table. Not everyone who is a realtor does that. And some of it's because, it's just sort of a part-time gig for some people. It's not a passion. Some see it as they're kind of finders, and, they will ask what you're looking for, and then they'll find the homes, and then they'll meet you over there so you can check out the home. Or if you utilize them to try to sell your home, and they just kind of find people to bring in. But that's the extent of it. And, everybody does it their own way. But, Emily Johnson's so much more expansive than that. And that's why she knows all of these people. She knows who's good. She knows who's trustworthy. And when it comes to, like, big old huge acreage, Emily Johnson, she's very comfortable and an expert when it comes to selling homes, but her husband is on board, Will, as an expert when it comes to the ranch, the home with the horse stables and the workshops and all of the things that encompass, because that is a much different world. And of course, Emily Johnson, extremely capable when it comes to that arena, but how much better is it to have someone who's an expert in that area? And that's what Will does. So everything is covered when it comes to home buying, home selling, when you use Emily Johnson House Theory Realty. All right, we're going to move quickly here to the news, because we are going to re-air an Author of the Week that we had some time ago, and it's a bit lengthy. And I thought that this would be a good time to re-air this one. Got a tremendous amount of feedback, and it's an interview regarding the Oklahoma City bombing and Timothy McVeigh, and just all of what unfortunately we have come to expect cynically of in terms of corruption and cover-up and framing people, arguably at times from those within our own government. And there's just so much that, that most of us don't really know happened when it came to that entire Oklahoma City bombing fiasco and the government's reaction to it. And I say the reason I thought it's good timing is because of the arrest of the attempted bomber on January 5th, 6th, whichever of the dates. There's discrepancies as to when that bomb was placed, according to another witness. But a lot of people are understandably skeptical of, is this really some random guy that just acted alone? Or is there much more there? And it just, I don't know, seemed like good timing. It was a great interview, got a lot of great feedback. So that's why we'll be airing that coming up here in just a couple of moments. First, the news.
And the first alert forecast from Ozarks First meteorologist Tom Schmidt, sponsored by St. Clair of the Ozarks Home Improvements. Today we'll see partly sunny skies with a high near 57. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 38. For your Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 47. And taking a look at Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 46. And door knockers, they are still out and about, and they're getting a little desperate. I was talking with Josh over at the Pyramid Roofing Company, and he told me that these door knockers, they are now targeting areas that haven't even had storm damage, and they are encouraging folks to file a claim, which leads to a claim history, and then they're not getting roof replacements. In other words, it's kind of a whole hot mess. Don't fall victim to that. If you have damage, or you think you have damage but you're not 100% sure, make sure that you reach out to Josh and his team over at the Pyramid Roofing Company. Now, the Pyramid team, they do free roof inspections for you. They do resident and commercial roofing services, and they're just going to shoot you straight. So if it is time to have the Pyramid team out to your home, reach out to Josh today. You can find all of the contact information for the Pyramid Roofing Company under the Sarah's Endorsements tab at ksgf.com.
I'm Nick Reed, and it is Thursday, which means it's Author of the Week, sponsored by ABC Books on North Glenstone, and very excited to have Margaret Roberts with us, prize-winning investigative journalist, television producer in D.C. She was top editor at National Journal and Congressional Quarterly before moving into television as news director of America's Most Wanted, and in 2010, she edited the prison memoir Deadly Secrets that was Timothy McVeigh's account of the Oklahoma City bomb plot as told by fellow death row inmate David Hammer, and the Oklahoma City bombing happening April 19th, 1995, something that for a very, very long time you have been covering. And my goodness gracious, I've always had questions that as time have gone on seem to be unanswered, but boy, do you really open up so much more information. Thank you so much for being with us. And I want to start off with 1995. I was a senior in high school, and I was in high school, Carthage, Missouri, and there was a small motel near Kellogg Lake. At one point, they thought John Doe number 2 was there. I remember from the library and the high school watching live on, I think it was CNN, as the bomb squad was opening a car door, sort of trying to do it from a distance and so forth. And it was all about this John Doe number 2 that was being sought out, that witnesses had seen with Timothy McVeigh after the Oklahoma City bombing. And then it just, as best as my memory from so long ago can recall, just sort of went away. And there's so much in this book to talk about. We're going to get to a limited amount of it. But let's start with John Doe number 2. Who was that and what happened with John Doe number 2?
Well, Nick, great to be with you. And that is quite a striking memory of yours, taking us right back to that moment when this story was a huge manhunt story. And actually, I witnessed this along with millions of Americans in horror that day, April 19, 1995, when the federal building in Oklahoma City was just blown up in an instant, creating, a horrific catastrophe. Almost immediately, story turned into the world's biggest manhunt. And of course, having been the news director of America's Most Wanted, I was focused on this from that perspective from the very beginning. John Doe 2 was the never identified accomplice or passenger in the truck who rode next to Timothy McVeigh in the infamous Ryder truck as they delivered and detonated that catastrophic bomb. 24 eyewitnesses on the ground in Oklahoma City, just ordinary people who happened to be there that day, caught glimpses of that Ryder truck with not one man, but two in the truck and eventually exiting the truck before the bomb went off, creating one of the great mysteries of American crime. Who was John Doe 2?
And people who remember the Oklahoma City bombing will remember that the internet didn't exist in the way it did today. So, today, if you have mistaken identities or, I think it's just easier to, in this day and age with the information being posted everywhere, you could have people claiming, oh, I saw this, or giving descriptions. But back then, that availability did not exist. So the likelihood of having 24 eyewitnesses all giving this, description and saying, yes, this individual with the sketch that was given was with Timothy McVeigh, I mean, it's just almost impossible, I would say.
Infinitesimal, absolutely.
Now, was there also, because he was said to, if I remember correctly, have rented the truck with Timothy McVeigh, and there was surveillance video that disappeared. Am I correct on that?
Yes, you are. Almost immediately, top journalists began reporting that the FBI had collected videotape showing images of John Doe 2 and Timothy McVeigh. This becomes a thread of my investigation and my book, which is called Blowback: The Untold Story of the FBI and the Oklahoma City Bombing. And of course, the Freedom of Information Act lawsuit for those videotapes that the FBI has never allowed the American public to see becomes a focal point of my investigation and the book. And that landmark lawsuit is still pending today and could one day result in the American public being able to see those images of what actually happened on April 19, 1995.
We are talking with our author of the week, Margaret Roberts, the book Blowback, Untold Story of the FBI and Oklahoma City Bombing. And I'm glad you mentioned it. The stellar host I am jumped right in so quickly, skipped over the important title of the book we're talking with you about. That one of the things that I found about this that I just thought was fascinating and almost inconceivable is all of the different names and people that found themselves caught up in this, one of which is somebody by the name of Kenneth Trentadue. And he apparently could be as much of a victim in all of this as some of those who died on that day back in April 19th of 95. Tell his story, if you would.
You're exactly right. And Kenneth Trinity's family certainly views him as victim number 169 of the Oklahoma City bombing. And it is an incredible true story. Kenneth Trinity was a parole violator in California, a prisoner who had served some time in California prison for bank robbery. He was a soldier in the Vietnam War era. Like a lot of soldiers, he came home addicted to heroin, turned to crime. He served his time, and he had a falling out with his parole officer over whether, as a construction worker, he could drink a beer after work. Eventually stopped showing up, and became a parole violator. In June of 1995, setting the stage here, this now was just 2 months after the bombing. At that time, when, to go back to your memory of people, all over America were being apprehended and questioned as potential John Doe 2 candidates, Kenneth Trinity was crossing the Mexican border, where he had been visiting his wife's family for the weekend, when he was stopped at the border and arrested for that old parole violation. He was kept in California waiting a parole violation hearing for a couple of months, and then, and this is the turn in the mystery that is so incomprehensible, then he was suddenly moved to Oklahoma City from Southern California. And 3 days later, he was found in his suicide-proof cell in solitary confinement, tortured and murdered, and in a horrific scene that the orderly who was tasked with cleaning up the cell afterwards called a bloodbath. However, the prison quickly declared this had been a suicide by hanging in a kind of Jeffrey Epstein-like scenario. That began the Trinity family's crusade for justice for this murdered prisoner. And it becomes entwined in the John Doe 2 story because Kenneth Trinity was a dead ringer lookalike for that muscular, tattooed, never identified suspect who rode next to Timothy McVeigh. The story, which I hope your readers will want to dive into in detail, the unraveling of this mystery is fascinating, and it is triggered, the unraveling is triggered by a message to Kenneth's attorney brother, Jesse Trinity, from Timothy McVeigh himself on death row in the year 2000, saying that the FBI had murdered Kenneth Trinity in an interrogation because he resembled a neo-Nazi terror leader by the name of Richard Lee Guthrie, who was an associate of Timothy McVeigh's, and they both resembled Doe 2.
And as people are listening to some of this, and it can sound confusing, and that's why, of course, this, as much or more than some of the other books that we've talked about in the past, recommend people do get in and read it to sort of figure it all out. Do you think, wait, because we listen to you talk, and some of this you look and you think, is this almost Keystone Cop screw up stuff where you got the FBI allegedly killing this individual they thought was John Doe number two, or they thought it was someone else? It was a mistaken identity situation, or is it something more nefarious? Is it? Do you have a sense of the overall, I guess, theme on that?
I do. And to pull a thread here to help people, because it is a complicated story that becomes clear as you follow the mystery. The Oklahoma City bombing wasn't an act of lone wolf terror, as prosecutors told the jury, as the news media told the public, and as history books now tell us today. The Oklahoma City was, very disturbingly, more of a scenario of manufactured terror made in Washington, D.C. by the FBI. Now, there is no intention that building had ever was to blow up. But my investigation, which spans over 20 years and follows this attorney, Jesse Prinadu, through the Freedom of Information Act process, and finally to an FBI whistleblower who comes out of the shadows. This scenario is much more like the Governor Whitmer kidnap plot, where we discover a case full of undercover assets and informants and operatives. And finally, when the whistleblower comes out of the shadows, he reveals that this neo-Nazi terror group, which called itself the Aryan Republican Army, of which this Richard Lee Guthrie was the leader, this group, according to the whistleblower, was created by the FBI as a front group to incite right-wing violence. So that begins to explain what really happened here and why this John Doe 2 mystery man of the bombing, was just essentially disappeared from the case.
Well, people who listen to my show frequently, you mentioning that Gretchen Whitmer case, they know that that's something I've talked about extensively, and about what a clear and obvious setup sort of scenario that was, and sort of the way that you would see reflections of it in January 6th also. So to go back and to hear you reference it in the context of the Oklahoma City bombing, that's really interesting. And I'll also mention, you talk about, you mentioned Kenneth Trenadu and the hanging in the cell while in solitary confinement. And when I first, heard his name and learned of that, I thought, well, he was Epstein. But it's my understanding, before the term Epstein existed, there was the term Trenadude.
Absolutely. Kenneth Trenadu's murder became a cause célèbre in prisons, and this is every prisoner's worst nightmare, having his locked cell invaded in the middle of the night by a SWAT team, and just being beaten, brutalized, and killed without recourse. So you're exactly right. This becomes, in prison, getting Trenadued is, the worst thing that could happen to you. And it became the shorthand for what had happened to Kenneth Trenadu.
I've got just one other question. I say that, sometimes I think of another, but then if there are any final thoughts you have as we talk with Margaret Roberts, author of Blowback, The Untold Story of the FBI and the Oklahoma City Bombing. I think that, well, in fact, there was a documentary that I came across. I think it was released not too long ago about the Oklahoma City bombing. I thought, oh, this may be interesting. I'm going to learn some new information here. And really, there wasn't a whole heck of a lot. It was pretty much the standard Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols, a couple of guys that had absolutely no money whatsoever, somehow financed this thing. Nobody knew how or why. And they were responsible for it. I, I mean, Timothy McVeigh clearly had some play in this. Now, not lone wolf, but what about Terry Nichols? Was he involved in any capacity, or is he someone else that got caught up in this, just by happen chance?
That's a great question. I am the only journalist who has ever interviewed Terry Nichols in Supermax prison in Colorado, where he is serving life without the possibility of parole for his role in the bombing. He is a man of many contradictions. Yes, he was involved with Timothy McVeigh in the bomb plot and the preparations for the bomb. I wish I could say that after viewing him, I know what makes Terry Nichols tick. I don't. I can tell your audience that the man I met in Supermax, who was shrunken, fragile physically, appeared to be racked with guilt for more, actions than he has ever admitted to. Just, a tortured soul. But there's no question that he and McVeigh were deeply involved in this crime. What the picture that comes out, however, is that Timothy McVeigh was not the mastermind of the Oklahoma City bombing. It was a much bigger operation.
Well, and then the second question that I predicted I would think of, do you and just all of the information that you have studied and gathered over the decades, if government had not had any involvement whatsoever, any hand in trying to make cases or set up scenarios regarding white supremacist organizations, do you think that the bombing would have occurred?
If they hadn't, that's a great question. I can only tell you that the FBI whistleblower, the undercover operative who comes out of the shadows at the end of Blowback to tell Jesse Trindle, his fellow Marine, what was going on in this undercover program, PATCON, which the FBI whistleblower, whose name is John Matthews, told Jesse he believed that Oklahoma City was a PATCON operation. And he told Jesse Trindle that he knew that the FBI had created this Aryan Republican Army as a front group. So, the scenario suggests that there is a very strong question about whether this bombing, would have happened without the group being created.
Yeah.
I will go that far.
Well, has there been any, whether you or anyone else, any pressure on the Trump administration, Pam Bondi? There's been so much focus on releasing the RFK Jr. file, or the RFK files, and the Martin Luther King Jr. files. What about this one?
I'm glad you asked, because certainly this is, we might call this the summer of transparency, right? I mean, this is the big push. Americans in their DNA want to know the truth about their country and their story. And that is true of the Oklahoma City bombing, as it is true of Jeffrey Epstein, as it is true of Russiagate. all the hottest stories of the moment seem to boil down to America wants to know the truth. And yes, first of all, this Freedom of Information Act lawsuit is still pending and waiting for the judge's decision. It has been waiting for a decade because of witness tampering charges that were brought by Jesse Trinidu at the trial when the whistleblower, John Matthews, suddenly dropped out, telling Jesse, dropped out as the star witness, telling Jesse he had been pressured by the FBI and he feared that his handlers would take away his medical benefits and his pension. As he put it, I don't want to be just another homeless vet living under a bridge. So that huge action is pending, and so is the judge's decision about the surveillance, the release of the surveillance videotapes. Also, a related and very important matter, Trinidu has a letter on the desk of Attorney General Pam Bondi asking that the Justice Department stand down from resisting unsealing deposition given by that whistleblower, which might lay out the entire scope of this secret FBI PATCON infiltration program that sounds so much like, as you point out, the Gretchen Whitmer kidnap plot and some other very signal events, including the Boston Marathon bombing, where there are grave questions about whether that older brother who was killed may have himself been an FBI informant. So yes, the push is on, and because of the lawyer at the middle of my book, Blowback, it represents a postmortem of a cover-up of a sort that we may find out was certainly far from one of a kind.
Well, there are two, for me, if there were two cases that I would really, I hope, get opened up, get looked at. One of them is TWA Flight 800, and the other one has been this one. And so hopefully your book, with all this incredible information in it, is going to prod that along to some degree, maybe even faster than that. Our author of the week, Margaret Roberts, the book, I recommend everyone go pick it up. ABC Books North Glenstone, of course, sponsoring our author of the week. The book is Blowback, the Untold Story of the FBI and the Oklahoma City Bombing on Springfield's Talk 1041. I'm Nick Reed.
Springfield's Talk 1041, the first alert forecast from Ozark's first meteorologist Tom Schmidt, sponsored by J&S Automotive. Today we'll see partly sunny skies with a high near 57. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 38. For your Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 47. And taking a look at Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 46.
Caitlin Pack, Springfield Symphony, with us in studio, which means performance is upon us. It's a packed time of year for Christmas performances specifically, and other holiday ones thrown in there as well. And so, today's Thursday, so I actually had it up in front of me. The Snowman.
Yes, we
The
have
Snowman.
quite the lineup this weekend.
Indeed.
So if we have our 2:30 free community matinee that is already sold out, so we had a huge response this season. Love to have all the community come out and support our symphony and just spend the holidays with us. It's such a magical time in the hall. And then we also have the Snowman, which is at 7:30. Still have a few tickets left, but it's almost sold out. Where we'll be performing. If you're not familiar with the Snowman,
Yes, remind us, because I remember you telling us about it some time ago, and I was like, I've never even heard of this.
Yes, it's a British television film. It's mostly silent film with just the animation and then the orchestra behind it. So we'll be actually projecting the film on the stage, and we'll be playing behind it, and we'll also be joined by Springfield's Girls Choir. They'll be performing with us, and that'll be the first half of the show. Then the second half is going to be all your favorite holiday tunes, and of course our annual sing-along that we invite everybody in Hammond's Hall to stand up and sing with us, and it's just a fun, magical moment. It is
fun.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great weekend for us. We're really excited to have end the year on a high note.
Is there a behind the baton for this
Not
one?
for
Okay,
this
I didn't
one.
think so,
Yeah.
but
So the next behind the baton will be for our January concert, which is The Clown. So if you like drama and murder and mystery, that shows a little bit of different turn from the holidays.
Yes, the Christmas is over. Let's get on with the murder and mayhem.
Yes, so it's going to be a really fun, dramatic show. And then we have the recent Helm competition winner, Wei Yun, is going to be performing with us, and it's going to be really fun.
Do you get much? So your marketing.
Yes.
People may wonder, particularly, okay, the Snowman, it's done. Then you got the holidays and everything. What's your day-to-day like? What is it you do?
I am always preparing for
the upcoming.
So I do a lot of my marketing planning during the summer, and then so it's kind of maintaining it throughout the year, and then starting in January, February, we start going for the next season. So I kind of looking ahead a couple of months. It's a lot of fun.
All right. Well, I hope that you get a bit of a breather after this one over the holidays.
It's never a breather for us. We're right into the next show.
All right, so the Snowman coming up again. That is tomorrow, 7:30. Some tickets, you said, are still available.
Some tickets still available online, always on our website, springfieldmosymphony.org, or over at Hammond's Hall.
All right. Anything else? I think I covered it.
I think we're great. We have some great holiday packages you can find out on our Facebook.
Okay, perfect.
So a lot of cool things, get good deals, have some fun presents for your family and friends.
All right. Caitlin Pack, thank you. It was always a great pleasure to see you. Hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You as well.
Springfield's Talk 1041. I'm Nick Reed. And Sarah Myers.
Thank you, Foreman Mechanical Heating and Air. The weather, it's going to be very nice over the next couple of days. And if you are having issues with your heating unit, now is the time to address those issues before it gets chilly again. Now, the Foreman team, they are the experts in the HVAC industry. I've used them a couple of times throughout the years, and one of my favorite things about them is that they're not pushy. If you're leaning towards a repair versus a replacement unit, they're going to work with you, whatever your situation is. They're genuine people. I really appreciated that, and I know you will too. If it is time to have the Foreman team out to your home or your business, reach out to Russell today. You can find all of the contact information for Foreman Mechanical Heating and Air under the Sarah's Endorsements tab at ksgf.com.
Venezuela condemning the U.S. seizure of a sanctioned oil tanker off its coast, calling it an act of international piracy. Quote, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela strongly denounces and repudiates what constitutes blatant theft and an act of international piracy. Publicly announced by the President of the United States, who confessed to the assault of an oil tanker in the Caribbean Sea, the government said in an official communique. The statement, published by the state-run news outlet that regularly carries Venezuela's official government announcements, framed the seizure as part of a broader campaign against the country's sovereignty and natural resources. Attorney General Pam Bondi said a joint operation with the FBI, Homeland Security, and the Coast Guard, with support from the Department of War, executed a seizure warrant for a crude oil tanker that was allegedly being used to transport sanctioned oil from Venezuela and Iran. Now, that will make it exceedingly difficult for the Democrats to figure out a way to side with the dictator of Venezuela over this one, given that it does involve these other departments and is essentially treated as a standard criminal law enforcement manner by executing a search warrant. Now, I think what Democrats will probably do is abandon the idea of defending the regime, and instead of criticizing the capturing of this sanctioned vessel, they will use it to say, see, this is how it's supposed to be done. In other words, the seizure warrant that was provided in order to do this, that they will use that to say, see, that's what the Trump administration, they know. Donald Trump knows that he's wrong in taking out these drug boats. And the proof of that is the fact that for this oil tanker, he utilized an actual warrant. And so it's a demonstration that he knows that the way he is doing it without the warrant is wrong. Now, of course, you're talking about apples and spaceships. I mean, two completely different scenarios when it comes to the taking out of the drug boats. Those are narco-terrorists. Those are individuals that are terrorists, and they are actively at the moment carrying out a terrorist attack. Now, not the traditional sort of terrorist attack, but what is considered to be a terrorist attack, importing deadly drugs that are responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths ultimately, and the dollars are used to fund the more traditional form of terrorism. This is an issue of sanctions. This is an issue of oil, which is clearly not an illegal product, and those that are shipping oil, which again doesn't make them doing something illegally. It's simply a violation of sanctions, and that is why the acquisition took, or the getting of the seizure warrant took place. So two completely different scenarios, but I suspect that may be the angle that Democrats try to take. I can't imagine them, as many times as they have exceeded my expectations of stupidity, trying to figure out a way to demonize this particular move. But like I said, I think that they're going to say this is the way that they need to be dealing with the drug boats from now on. But we will not be lulled into that attempt to conflate the two. How funny would it have been, though, if Trump did just blow it up? Just blew up the oil tanker? Can you imagine?
Would they have also been shipwreck survivors?
Yeah, they would have been hardworking shipwrecked survivors, and But unfortunately, Trump and Hegseth denied them that by carrying out an actual seizure. Do we keep the boat now? What do you do with something like that? I don't know.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good
I don't
question.
know. I would assume we would. I don't know.
I'm really hoping that Trump does something that's Trumpian and finds some clever use for it. I just, I can only imagine 1,000 scenarios that Donald Trump could come up with as a creative way to capitalize off the seizure. I don't know. Maybe he'll just return it. But it could be something fun and exciting. Maybe like a drawing. Somebody in the country can win it, or have cruises on it of some sort, or cosplay oil tanker employees. Springfield's Talk 1041. I'm Nick Reed. The oil tanker that's been seized by the country, we have off-air decided that Trump should utilize it, turn it into a dinner theater experience where part of it is you as the guest, you play a Venezuelan shipman or whatever, and then actors will drop from helicopters and swoop in, much like the actual seas, and just sort of replay that sort of scenario, like a theatrical thing, an interactive theatrical thing.
Trump
So,
dinner cruise.
yeah, Trump dinner cruise. He has to paint the whole thing gold, though.
That is true.
It's got to be painted
He needs
gold.
to put the Trump logo on the side of
Oh.
it. Of course.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on.
Duh.
Tomorrow we will be broadcasting live from Scramblers. It's that Friday Road Show. Hope you join us. Glenn Beck is